Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, staring into an endless abyss. The wind howls, the ground beneath you feels unstable, and a voice inside whispers, "Jump." But not to your death, to your rebirth. This is Nietzsche's vision of becoming who you are. Not a gentle journey of self-discovery, but a perilous climb, a battle against everything you've been told to be. It's not about finding yourself, but creating yourself. And the truth? It's darker, harder, and more rewarding than you've been led to believe. Let's descend into Nietzsche's abyss and see if we can emerge as something greater. Nietzsche's command, "Become who you are," sounds like a contradiction. If you are yourself already, how can you become it? But this is no ordinary self-help platitude. It's a philosophical detonation, one that shatters the modern myth of effortless self-discovery. Consider Michelangelo's David. For years, the masterpiece lay trapped inside a flawed block of marble. Other sculptors had abandoned it, believing it damaged beyond repair. But Michelangelo saw what others couldn't, the form waiting to be freed. He didn't invent David, he revealed him, strike by strike. Nietzsche's vision of the self works the same way. Your true self isn't some pre-packaged identity waiting to be unwrapped. It's raw potential, buried under layers of fear, social conditioning, and half-lived compromises. You don't find yourself like a lost set of keys. You forge yourself like a blacksmith hammers molten steel, through heat, pressure, and relentless shaping. And this is the paradox. You already contain who you must become, but you are not yet who you are. Think of it like a seed and a tree. An acorn is an oak, but only in possibility. Without struggle, without cracking open in the dark soil, without pushing through resistance toward the sun, it remains just a seed. Nietzsche's philosophy demands that you engage in this violent act of self-sculpting. It means chiseling away the lies you've mistaken for truth, shattering the identities others have handed you, embracing the chaos of transformation before the form emerges. Most people never do this. They mistake their borrowed beliefs for their own. They wear personalities like rented costumes, changing them when the crowd shifts. Nietzsche's challenge? Stop performing. Start becoming. But here's the dark twist. The sculptor's chisel is pain. The hammer is adversity. The masterpiece is only revealed through destruction. So ask yourself, what parts of me are still trapped in the marble? And then, start swinging. Nietzsche didn't just accept suffering, he demanded it. He declared, "You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star." This isn't poetic exaggeration, it's a brutal truth. Transformation requires destruction first. Imagine a phoenix. It doesn't evolve gently into its next form. It burns alive in the flames of its own demise. Only through total annihilation does it rise renewed. This is Nietzsche's vision of growth, not incremental improvement, not comfort, a total immolation of the old self. Why? Because suffering isn't an obstacle. It's the forge. Doubt cracks you open. Every belief you question leaves you raw, but wiser. Failure strips you bare. It peels away illusions of who you thought you were. Loneliness tests your truth. When no one applauds, do you still believe in your path? Most people run from this. They numb themselves with distractions, cling to safe lies, or collapse under the weight of their own fragility. But Nietzsche's ideal, the Übermensch, doesn't just endure suffering. They need it like a blade needs a whetstone. Consider the diamond. Under pressure, coal collapses. But diamond? It crystallizes into something unbreakable. Your soul works the same way. The pain of betrayal teaches you who's real. The sting of rejection shows you what's worth fighting for. The terror of uncertainty forces you to create your own meaning. Nietzsche's warning is clear. Whoever cannot obey himself will be commanded. If you don't voluntarily step into your abyss, Life will throw you into it anyway. The choice isn't whether you suffer, it's what your suffering will transform you into. So ask yourself, am I burning, or am I already ashes? We live in the age of just be yourself, a hollow slogan plastered on motivational posters and influencer captions. But Nietzsche would sneer at this cheap version of authenticity. Why? Because most people's true self is a carefully constructed forgery. Think about it. We mimic the opinions of our social circles to avoid conflict. We adopt personalities based on what gets us liked or rewarded. We silence our rawest instincts to fit into polite society. This isn't authenticity. It's high-performance conformity in disguise. Nietzsche saw through this charade. He observed that most so-called individuals are just walking echo chambers, repeating what their tribe wants to hear, living museums, curating identities from past experiences, professional approval seekers, chasing validation like addicts. The brutal truth? You've been gaslighting yourself. That authentic version of you? It's probably just your parents' unfulfilled ambitions wearing your skin, your trauma responses disguised as personality traits, society's expectations masquerading as your choices. Nietzsche's solution isn't comfort, it's violent self-excavation. Real authenticity requires 1. Psychological archaeology, digging through layers of conditioning to find what's actually yours. 2. Social heresy, willingness to be hated for what's true. 3. Existential weightlifting, carrying the burden of your own unfiltered being. Most fail this test. They prefer the safety of their masks, the comfort of their lies, the anesthesia of collective thinking. But here's Nietzsche's challenge. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. Your true self isn't something you find. It's something you fight for daily. So ask yourself, when was the last time you surprised yourself? When did you last do something that would disappoint everyone who thinks they know you? That's where authenticity begins, where the performance ends. Society is a silent assassin of individuality. It doesn't attack with force, but with subtle, relentless pressure that suffocates your true nature before you even realize it's happening. Nietzsche saw this with terrifying clarity when he wrote, "The surest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold in higher esteem those who think alike than those who think differently." The invisible chains of conformity. From the moment we're born, we're conditioned to seek safety in sameness, blend in to avoid rejection, mistake popularity for truth. If everyone believes it, it must be right. Trade sovereignty for belonging. Your identity becomes collateral for social acceptance. This creates what Nietzsche called the herd mentality, where people would rather be wrong together than right alone. The tragedy? Most don't even realize they've been domesticated. Why you're already trapped, and how to know. Ask yourself, do your opinions change depending on who's listening? Have you ever suppressed a thought because it was too weird to share? Do you feel phantom guilt when doing something purely for yourself? These are the symptoms of psychological colonization, when external expectations occupy your mind like an invading army. Nietzsche's antidote. The path of the outcast. Becoming yourself requires something radical, the willingness to be misunderstood. History's most transformative figures were initially ridiculed, Galileo, Nietzsche himself; temporarily isolated, Van Gogh, Emily Dickinson; considered dangerous, Socrates, Joan of Arc. Nietzsche demands you ask, what truth would I defend if it meant becoming unpopular? The cost of compliance. Every time you silence an unconventional idea, abandon a passion to appear responsible, laugh at a joke you don't find funny, you're letting society edit your soul in real time. The conformist's epitaph always reads, Here lies someone who could have been remarkable, if only they dared. Breaking free requires ruthlessness. One, become a traitor to expectations, disappoint others before betraying yourself too. Develop a taste for solitude, the herd fears what it can't control. 3. Rewire your reward system. Seek self-respect over external validation. Nietzsche's warning echoes through time. No price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. The question isn't whether you'll pay. It's what you're still willing to lose yourself to save. Nietzsche wasn't just a philosopher of abstract ideas. He was a strategist of self-overcoming. His philosophy demands action, not just contemplation. Becoming who you are isn't a passive awakening. It's a war fought daily in the trenches of your choices. Step 1. The excavation of desire. Most people don't know what they truly want. They only know what they've been taught to want. Nietzsche's first challenge is ruthless self-archaeology. Track your envy. What makes you burn with quiet jealousy? That's a clue. Audit your heroes. Who do you admire? Their traits reflect your unlived potential. Study your boredom. What drains you reveals what you're not meant for. This isn't about judging yourself. It's about decoding yourself. Step 2. The discipline of destruction. You can't build a new self without first demolishing the old one. Burn your masks. Which roles do you perform out of habit rather than truth? Starve your cowardice. What do you avoid because it terrifies you? Exile your ghosts, whose expectations still govern you from the grave. Nietzsche called this spiritual warfare, the battle against everything in you that prefers comfort over truth. Step 3. The cultivation of resistance growth happens at the edge of your capacity. Design challenges that stretch you. Intellectual resistance. Read ideas that offend your current worldview. Physical resistance. Push your body beyond what feels safe. Emotional resistance. Do something that risks embarrassment. Like a muscle, your self only grows under tension. Step 4. The art of sacred selfishness. Society will call you arrogant for prioritizing your becoming. Do it anyway. Protect your time like a dragon guards gold. Say no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great ones. Let relationships fade if they demand your diminishment. Nietzsche wrote, "The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly." Step 5. The daily crucible. This isn't a one-time transformation. It's a lifestyle of self-overcoming. Morning interrogation. What will I do today that my weaker self wouldn't? Evening autopsy. Where did I compromise today? Weekly challenges. Introduce deliberate discomfort. The hammer strikes daily. The sculpture is never finished. The ultimate test. When you look in the mirror, do you see a persona or a force of nature? A product of your environment or its architect? Nietzsche's philosophy isn't about finding yourself. It's about building yourself with the relentless precision of a sculptor, the courage of a warrior, and the vision of an artist. The marble block of your potential waits. Will you swing the hammer? Nietzsche's path isn't about reaching a destination. It's about falling in love with the climb. There is no final true self to uncover, only an endless process of self-creation and destruction. The dark truth? You will never arrive. Every time you think you've become who you are, life will reveal new depths to conquer. Every victory will birth new challenges. This isn't failure, it's the point. The question isn't whether the journey is worth it, but whether you'd prefer the alternative. A life of comfortable stagnation, wondering who you could have been. So keep sculpting, keep burning, keep becoming. The alternative is not living, it's just waiting to die. Now, go wage your war, and also seek wisdom.